Hi there, Marie back with you today from Crafty Landing. I'm here to share my newest completed journal using the Rachel and Bella Crafts Billet Doux kit, her French love letters kit. And I've used loads from it because Rachel gives you loads from it. There is the main journal kit, there are some background papers, there is the ephemera kit, and there is also the add-on kit. And I know at the moment you can get a good deal on the bundle kit of all four. So if you haven't got it and you feel like you could work with it, run, go and buy it. It's absolutely beautiful. So my flip-flop journal, which I'm calling Do-si-do, which is French for around and around, and that's what a flip-flop journal is. Just feast your eyes on this. Lusciousness, lots and lots of lusciousness. Just look at it all. And that's a good way of showing you how the flip-flop journal works. So can you see here, it's like a zigzag. So one journal is here, and then if you turned over, that becomes the front of the next journal. So the spines are here and here. There we go. So let me show you what I've done. Sari silk closure. Okay, and when I open that, that is the first signature, the front of the journal, but I'm going to turn it right over a minute and I'm going to tie my closure just here at the back to keep it out of the way. Otherwise we might get it all tangled as we turn and turn the journal. So I'm going to turn back to the front now. There we are. Look at this. So this is my front cover. This is a piece of paper from my stash, and I've glued on a little butterfly here and a bit of bling in the corners. And as you open it, it reveals an top pocket, and I've used Rachel's papers throughout this kit, and I've just stuck some applique on the top there. And her ephemera kit, I've also used lots of. This is from her kit, and I've backed it onto some grid paper for journaling. And this opens up, journaling space there, and that is a French letter from the kit, and you can see where the wax seal would have been, and you can see the faint fold lines. So if you wanted to fold it the way that it should be folded, which would be like that, you can. Okay, but I've left mine lengthways because I wanted it to fit in my first pocket here. So this is the main cover. Okay, so we're turning that over, and I've got a lace pocket here, holding some delicate papers from my stash. Ooh. That's from the kit. So as I say, most of the papers in here are from the kit, either her main journal kit or the background kit. So you can see that this is very delicate and old, and it's got the imprint of the calligraphy writing that was on the top. So I put that in, dusky pink, and some pattern paper from my own stash. And then on the journal pages, I think there are 3 that Rachel has in the kit with these beautiful photographs on. So I've used her as my front page of the signature. Some beautiful papers here that you don't need to do anything on. They can just be showcased on their own because they're so beautiful. Here is a pocket, and I've done a little bit of a cluster up here with a rose, and I've used made a tag here, clustered up some of the little embellishments here. I think they're from the add-on kit, and a tie here, and you can journal on the back. So I'll put her back in a minute. So again, part of the journal papers. Look, they're just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here I have a page of original ephemera, beautiful calligraphy writing there, and I've just used a key. Now, I can't remember if that's from my stash or in the kit, but anyway, I've made it into a little top tuck here, and this is part of the ephemera kit, I believe. It's either the ephemera kit or the add-on kit, and I've journaling space here, and I've just put on, I think that's from the one of the wallpaper kits, the background kits, papers in her kit. Some vintage music paper here, and I've used some of my heat tape, which you can buy from the online shop beginning with A. You can make your own faux vintage tape. I think Steph from Hilltop View Journals has a video on how to do that, but there are other videos also on YouTube. But I've discovered something called heat tape, and it works just as well. Crochet trim going down the edge of the music paper here, and that is a flip out. Here I've made a large tag using an image from Rachel's kit. They're just beautiful. All these ladies are writing. That's why she's called it Billet Doux, which is French for love letters. And this one actually is sort of like a double tag. She fits in that pocket there. So that little tag has a pocket, and I've used one of the postcards from the ephemera kit with some little bits and pieces here clustered up. And in the large tag, using the background papers, I've made a pocket, doing some modelling paste there, and this little tag fits inside that pocket. So there's a tag with a pocket with a pocket, which is quite funny, isn't it? And I've made the hole reinforcer here, where I've tied the bow, larger so that it can actually hold that smaller tag there. So it's a tag with a pocket in a tag with a pocket. And here, I've done this throughout the journal. I have taken either the main journal pages or the background pages, and I've torn them, and then I've sewn them with my machine onto some more faded or plainer background, so that it leaves lots of room for journaling. This is the Dusky Pink from Rachel and Bella. I can't remember if it's this kit or the previous kit that she had some backgrounds. Dusky pink, blue, green, yellow, and the pink and the blue work perfectly with this kit. So if I turn over, you can see that here is another piece of the journal page which I've then sewn. So the pink and the blue I've torn together to give me the same shape here, which then I've taken to my machine and just sewn. And this is a little rose journal card, went on the back of the tag there, clipped on. Here, these were from Rachel's freebies, the mini envelopes. So I've made them into a belly band, and I've put lace either side, tied it with some twine, top and bottom. And I've just made some journaling space here using some of the background papers. And on this side, I've got a little scrappy pad going on here. Now, this little image, you can see this lady here. She is actually on the cover paper for the kit. So the very first kit, when you see on Etsy or on her website, the very cover paper that says the name Billet Doux, it's on there. And I've cut her out. She's tiny, tiny, but I've cut her out from the cover paper. And we've got a little bit of a scrappy pad going on there, and I've tucked in a French lady inside the pocket at the back. And of course you could journal here. Some original French book pages which I bought from Rachel on her website, and I've just clustered up some of her add-on and embellishments and cut out some flowers from, I think, her freebie, or is there flowers in the kit? But that's Rachel's flower. That might be from my stash. And I've made a little tab here to turn over the page. This one is background from the kit, main journal page, sorry, from the kit. And I've got an envelope here which I've just left unstuck so that it can be used for journaling. But of course it can also be glued if you want it in an envelope. And over the other side, the top part of that envelope holds some paper from my stash, and I've got the Eiffel Tower on this one, and I've just used some more of my heat tape there to give the vintage look, and it's a lace flip up here, and I've just printed off another lady, clustered it up, and top as well, and one of the Tim Holtz frames there. This page again, you can see where I've sewn some of the pattern paper to the journal papers, and I've made a pocket with a bit of lace, and it holds some ephemera from the ephemera kit, and tea stain on the back so that they can be journaled on. And here is the centre of the first signature. Again, you can see where I've sewn some of the pattern paper to the main journal paper here. She's beautiful, isn't she? And I've made a tab to turn the page again over here. This time I have put a little bulb pin with a rose and some lace from my stash as a little charm there. And here I've taken inspiration from Steph at Hilltop View Journals, who does the most amazing clusters, and I have clustered up some pieces here from the ephemera kit with my lace, layered it all up, a little cutout from the kit, La Favorite, and one of Rachel's photographs in the kit, and I've just made journaling. That's from an old 1950s notebook, and I've used some of her ephemera pieces there, inked them up but left them plain on the back for journaling, and one of her cabinet card backings. And again, I've clustered it up here using bits and pieces and just left a little bit for journaling. Vellum envelope on this side, and you can see just hidden there, peeking through, I've made a large journaling card with a little bow here to help pull her out from the pocket. There's the vellum pocket. I think I've used the French floral. Rachel has another kit. It's either called French Florals or something like that, and I've printed that off onto vellum because it complements the Billet Doux kit really well. That's my favourite image from Rachel's kit. I just love it. Another lady sitting at the table writing her love letter, and I've clustered it up with some paper from my stash and some French paper, music paper, and a little bit of room there for journaling. And I've cornered the rounded the corners on this one because it helps it slide in and out of the pocket easily. That's the background paper, the journal papers from the kit. I get confused between the backgrounds and the journal papers. Please forgive me. Now this part here is from a snippet roll that my mum made for me. So I've managed to use a piece of that on here, the French paper, and a torn part of the kit. And here again I've been influenced by Steph, so I've used one of the photographs as the tuck, and I've just put in some of the pieces from the ephemera kit. This time I've backed it onto that wallpaper. Isn't it beautiful? That's in the kit. And I turn that one over, and here, now this was given to me by Daisy from Rachel's retreat. I must tell you, Rachel's summer retreat last year at the barn, and we're going back there in June. Woo! We all, at Rachel's retreats, so far we've all made something to give to each other at the retreat. So for instance, say there were 20 people at the retreat, if I was making tags I would make 20 of them, enough to give one for everybody, so that when we have all these things collected together, we've got lots to be able to put in our journals. Well, I was saving this one for the right journal. Daisy made me this last year, and it just fits perfectly in this journal. So Daisy, if you're watching, thank you. I've used your little mass mate, your gift for everybody. Here is mine, and inside the pockets I've just put some small pieces. That's from my stash. This is in the kit, this beautiful little calling card, and I've matched it up on the backing. And this one here, made into a tag, rounded the corners, and writing space on the back. So those little things get put in there. And Daisy, I cut out the little butterflies as well. That was on, I think that might have been on the tag that you gave us to say who it's from. I've actually got it here. Oh, it's not Daisy, it's Vicky. I do apologise. Vicky, it's from you, look. This is the one you made. I thought it was Daisy, but it's Vicky. And if we open it up, one of Rachel's lovely French lady images, and I've just clustered it up there with the flower and a bit of music paper in the background. And you can see here again, I've sewn the blue paper to the other background paper there. And if we turn over, I have made a pocket here, showcase the sewing onto the planer there. And I've made a pocket. I've hand sewn the swirls on here. This paper is from my stash, but this is from Rachel's kit, another of the lady sitting down writing her love letter. And inside this pocket, this is from my stash, a postcard. And if I turn it over, there is also a pocket on this side, papers from Rachel's kit, a bit of lace there that I've stuck on, and I've made a journaling card here out of the Eiffel Tower paper in the kit, and it's got a pocket, and I've got some bits and pieces inside there, but plenty of room for journaling. And that goes in the pocket there. So it's got a double pocket, this one, pocket there, and a pocket on the other side. And here, this was my tutorial for part of the 100 Days Junk Journal Ideas collaboration, where I showed you how to make a hidden journaling spot. And this tag slides all the way out, and it hides a pocket, journaling here, and one of Rachel's envelopes there, the blue envelope. And I've clustered it up at the bottom here, rounded the corners on my sliding tag, and of course you can journal on the back of her as well using another of those beautiful images from the kit. So that's the sliding tag there to hide some journaling. Lace pocket here, and the top page here I cut out these lovely flowers from one of the other papers and stuck it on. So we've got more plain wallpaper type pattern down here, and then the flower stuck on the top there. And I've got some more bits and pieces. This one's from my stash, and the others are from Rachel's kit. So I've backed that one with some vintage music paper. So they go in that lovely little lace pocket there, and which matches the music page on this side perfectly. Here we've got a little tag which I've stuck on to make a little tuck there. More vintage ledger paper, beautiful handwriting. And here on this page I have a double envelope flip out. So it's two envelopes which I've joined together here, look, collaged them both up with bits and pieces from the kit, scraps that I had left over, Rachel's flowers, and the inside too. And then inside this one we have a card from my stash, that images, and on this side we have some French wallpaper from my stash again, so journaling cards in there. Butterfly, gorgeous, gorgeous. And this is heavy enough because it's two brown envelopes with journaling cards in. It's just heavy enough to fit over without needing a paper clip or anything. And this is the back page, and you can see where I've sewn two different papers together. Journal on there, and you could also do some journaling on this side as well if you wish. So that is the back, which then we just carry on going now for journal number 2, and it's the belly band here, and I have inside the belly band a large tag using part of the that's on one of the journal pages, so I've just cut it out and used it to make a large tag. So if we open up this one, we have a bit of a side tuck going on here. If I move it here a bit, you can see I've got a little bit of a lace over this like beautiful tuck here, and I've tied it up with some ribbon into a bow and some organza. Page from the kit, and I have again some bits and pieces. So I folded this one up. Let me show you. It's beautiful, isn't it? That's in the kit, so I've just folded that one up and put some writing paper with that there. Tuck it in, and then it will go inside the tuck spot like so. That's another of the images on the journal pages. So again, I wanted to use her for my first page, all from the kit. This is the tags that I made everybody for the mass make at the last retreat, the spring retreat that we had, using some of these papers from the Billet Doux and the French book pages, and I did some embossing at the top there. So all the attendees at the retreat had one of these tags. I did pink ones and I did blue ones as well, both of which go with the kit. That's held together with a paper clip there, and on this side clipped in. So here's again the 2 pages sewn together, and clipped in here is this beautiful piece of ephemera from Rachel's kit. It's gorgeous, isn't it? So I've just inked that up, folded it. Oops, there we go, and that just gets clipped on to the back of there. There's that beautiful original sort of a diary page, really, a ledger page. And we've got some more music paper, and this time instead of a flip out, I've made a pocket. So if we start with a little pocket here at the front, so I folded the corner, you can just see the music page there. So on the other signature it was a flip out. This time I've stuck it down the side here, folded it over this way, and look at that's from those little mini envelopes in Rachel's freebies. Look at that, gorgeous. So, and I've made a pocket down here as well, and put in bits and pieces, all these lovely little bits from the kit. They're just so gorgeous. They go in there, and see that flower from Rachel's kit, and I've just clustered it up with some little elements. I love the tiny little elements that Rachel included in the kit. They are so useful. And here we have some journaling space, and that is in Rachel's kit. Beautiful, and that just tucks in that pocket that I made there. And I have another one of those photograph ladies on this side that I've made into a tag. There's the 2 papers sewn together, and I've just clustered it up with some of those lovely little tiny bits. A frame that I've used using my die cuts, and some collaged up but left some writing room there. So that one goes in there. And on the other side we have another one of Rachel's French postcards, and here we have the 2 papers sewn together, and this time journaling space, and I've just used one of the flowers there. Another pocket clustered up. I was inspired by Steph, as I've said. Her clusters are beautiful, and instead of putting the pocket right down at the bottom, I've sort of moved it up a little bit, so it's almost like a belly band, but it is a pocket. It doesn't go all the way through. And look at that beautiful paper in the background there. And I have some bits and pieces, one of my favourite postcards in the kit, and again journaling space, but I've just used a little bit of leftover there. There we go. Oh, let me put it that way, and they go in there. And I also like the way when you're clustering things up, that you put things slightly above the top of the pocket, and it gives it kind of more interest, I think, on the pocket itself, rather than the pocket being straight across. I like to see things go above it. I think that's quite a nice thing that I've learnt to do. And a fold over pocket on this side, and this here is a little cluster that was given to me by Emma at the retreat, and you can see that butterfly, she's glazed that butterfly, and there's some crochet lace there and also some more underneath, and she's look at that, put it on a little image there. So Emma, I've used your little clusters that you gave us, and I've just made a little side tuck there. That's part of the kit. This beautiful piece is from the kit. So lots of journaling room in that one. French book page tabs, and I've put a little floral coloured trim down there. And on this side I clustered it up with this large flower that's in the kit. And here another little collage which I made into a pocket, and it's holding one of those little pieces of ephemera, and this time you open it up and there's lots of room for journaling. So that pops in there like that. And then these are pockets included in the journal kit, the add-on kit or the ephemera kit. I think it's the add-ons where the pockets are, and they're meant to be open, but I folded them in half. They have this lovely curved shape at the top. If you use the pocket across the page, it would have this curved part, but I've folded it in half to make these little tag pockets really, and I've stuck them down with some lace, staggered them, and we have a journaling tag in that one, and we have so that one opens, and we have a journaling tag in that one. There we go. So I sort of used those in a different way. Oops. Okay, let me just, there we go. I think we're in. There we are. And the centre spread. Beautiful, beautiful. And I've sewn on another piece here. So the sewn on pieces here on the back, and I've just used one of Rachel's images, this beautiful little girl and her dolly, and French writing down here, and I've just made that into a flip using a scrap piece that I had left over. A flip out here, journaling on this space, and I've stuck on a big flower from my stash there. And on this side is more of that snippet roll from my mum, so a tuck spot there, and this is from my stash, I believe. Oh no, it might be one of Rachel's. It might be one of Rachel's, and I've made it into a journaling card. And we have more of that French book page here and here, and this time I've left a little bit of room for writing. And here is like a little tag, and the page is folded over this side, and it holds, oh, let me take, there we go, that was well and truly on, wasn't it? An airmail envelope addressed to someone in France, via Air France, and some journaling space on that one. Just pop that back on. There we go. And there is that tag. And here, lovely, lovely bit of collage tuck there. Beautiful lady at her writing desk again. And this paper is from my stash. And the Eiffel Tower down here. And the two papers that I've sewn together complement each other well, and I've used some lace trim and things down the side of here, and some more of those lovely tiny pieces that are in Rachel's add-on kit. There you can see how I've clustered it up using scraps here, and she's mounted on some lace and a lace trim. It's just so beautiful. I love it. And on this side another one, so her there and her there. I couldn't stop, could I? This also can be used as a tuck. And here I've made a flip out envelope with vellum on the back, and it's holding a tag that I've made from bits and pieces in my stash. Why is it that when you're on camera, I'll do that in a minute, it won't go in? So this is a die cut, a Tim Holtz die cut, I believe, and yeah, and I've hand sewn it around there and the vellum on the back. And on this side is another vellum pocket, so it's going to be holding another large tag which I've made. Look at her outdoors in the sun writing her letter. It's beautiful, isn't it? And that's from Rachel's kit. This is from my stash, but when it's all collaged up together, she's mounted on brown paper. It's just beautiful. And I've collaged it up on this side using papers from Rachel's kit, and that's one of the envelope fronts, addresses. So yep, that goes in there. So that's another large tag. Music paper, and I've got a little paperclip banner here which I've clustered up with some bits and pieces, and on this side it holds some more ephemera. This one is very fragile. It's a digital, one of Rachel's digitals from the kit, but I've printed it onto newspaper print, so the newspaper is very, very thin, so it feels very delicate and fragile, which I like, because it makes you handle it very fragile, and it makes you think very carefully, and it makes you think it's very old. More of that ledger paper here, and on this side is an envelope from a postcard from my stash, which I've just clipped on there. And here I've made another one of those sliding hidden journaling spots, and this is the one that I demonstrated how to make in my video. So that's that one. And here we have another tag, one of Rachel's mini envelopes down here, some lace trim, pocket, photograph, and you can write on the back, and again I've just clustered it up, collaged it up with some bits and pieces from Rachel's kit, and that just goes in there. And oh, I've got the back pocket which I need to put something in, and that's the final page. So yes, that is my Billet Doux, my do-si-do. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and I am now on to my next one using her new kit, Echoes of Nature, Ecos de la Nature she's called it. So yeah, head over to her website and have a look at all her beautiful kits on offer. So we are still carrying on with the 100 Days Junk Journal Ideas Challenge. So yeah, lots and lots of inspiration out there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you with my next video soon. Bye.